Hey guys, it's Lainey, and today I'm doing a non-spoiler book review. Today's book review is going to be on Rebel of the Sands by Alwyn Hamilton. I do want to say first that this book was sent to me by review from Penguin Teen, but of course all thoughts are my own. This book was released on March 8th, and this is the first book in a new series. Rebel of the Sands tells the story of a young gunslinger named Amani, who sometimes disguises herself as a boy to try to enter gun shooting contests. She lives in a very, very small town in the desert. She says her town has too many of two things, which is guns and sand. Desperate to leave her home situation, living with her aunts and her uncle, she meets a foreigner and she kind of convinces herself and him to leave this town behind, which she does. I rated this book a 2.5 out of 5. While there was a lot of elements that I really liked about this story, I think it took too long to execute them. The synopsis I just gave you takes place within the first 75 pages of the book, and then you are kind of left wondering what the plot is. And the plot doesn't materialize until probably the last 70 pages of the book. First, I kind of want to talk about the things that I really did like about this book, and one of the things was the first chapter. I actually felt like this first chapter was one of my favorite first chapters of all time. Like, it just really pulled me into the story right away. I really liked Amani. I liked how she kind of did the Mulan thing and dressed up as a boy to compete in contests. One of the biggest problems I had with this book was the world building. I felt like it was very underdeveloped. It kind of felt like the author was kind of throwing in these new details, like 250 pages in the book, like, oh yeah, this thing has been happening for the past thousands of years, but I'm only now mentioning it. And it sucks because the world was set up to be this really cool place. We have like Arabian myths and magic mixed with guns and trains and desert and a road trip. You think those are all elements I would really enjoy in storytelling. However, it just came down to the execution and how I didn't think it was there. Kind of going in with the things being thrown in there as the story was going was a lot of the magical creatures, and the whole magic system as a whole I didn't feel was very fitting at all, and it wasn't explained very well either. Towards the end of the book, the magic was really starting to form and started being more of an importance in the story, when I felt like the magic system in this book should have been a very solid foundation from the start, and it wasn't. When it came to the characters, I didn't feel that big of a connection to them. Amani and Jin, who is the main love interest, I felt didn't really have a very big connection at all. Their relationship was very awkwardly forced. I just didn't buy them as romantic love interests at all. There was no chemistry. One of the main complaints I had about the development of the relationship was they go on this desert road trip journey, which is something that I love, but it was just done not well in this book. They're traveling and they're building their relationship. You know, I finish a chapter, turn the page. What do I see? Over the next 6 weeks, that is how you kill a relationship. Since it's told in a first-person point of view, I feel like you can't get away with summarizing major relationship development. It happens literally right in the middle of the story. I just felt so distant and disconnected from Amani and Jin, where I couldn't get back into trying to get to know them, because I've only known these characters for probably 4 or 5 days, and then you just summarized 6 weeks. That was like the biggest complaint I had about it. I know that's something really small, but really it's not something small. Continuing on with that, I didn't feel emotional connections with any of the other characters while I was reading. There's a big action scene at the end where things are left up in the air, and I still actually really didn't feel like I cared what happened to the characters, and that sucks because I just spent so many pages trying to build a relationship with these characters, and I still, towards the end, didn't actually care what happened to them. Another thing I didn't like about the book was the plot, and the fact that there was no plot. I was reading and I had no idea what was going on, just because it took so long to get to the point. There were so many times when I just kind of wanted to put it down because I'm like, what is the goal here? I don't know. Like, even when you're doing a road trip, you have an end destination, but I felt like the end destination in Rebel of the Sands was so up in the air where I couldn't figure out where the story could possibly be going, and it wasn't done in a very good way for me to keep guessing. It just kind of left me wondering why I was still reading the book. I will say the last 70 pages did get significantly better to the point where I'm considering continuing on with the series. I just wish it didn't take the entire book for me to get to that point. So those are my thoughts on Rebel of the Sands. Are you guys planning on reading this book? Have you read this book? Let me know. I really want to hear your guys' thoughts on this. I hope you guys all have a really great day, and I'll see you guys very soon.